Welcome to this week's MTD Live Question Time, a new future of engineering with artificial intelligence. What changes will this have on engineering and manufacturing? How will it pave a new engineering landscape? Well, these are just some of the topics that we're going to find out more. I'm Giovanni Albanese, hosting today's show, a passionate engineer and a very proud member of the MTD team. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined today by Luca Ruggiero, European Sales Director for DP Technology, makers of ESPRIT CAM software for CNC equipment. Luca has been with DP Technology since 2009 and has a wealth of experience within the industry. Welcome to the show, Luca, and thank you very much for joining us today from Italy.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you to invite me for this event. I'm pretty happy to talk to you.
That's brilliant, Luca. Luca, thank you for joining us. It's a fantastic, fascinating subject. But before we start, Luca, can you give us a little bit of a brief overview about DP Technology, the makers of ESPRIT?
Yeah, DP Technology. It's a company from another era, because if you think about the software, 35 years old, like our company, is really an era. And it's born in 1985, and he started to produce a small piece of software for a new technology at that time called EDM. And we started with EDM, and then we moved forward to create a platform that is able to manage any kind of manufacturing process. So right now we have a software, ESPRIT. This is able to manage EDM, of course, milling, turning, multitasking, and finally even additive. Plus all the collateral processes, like, for example, probing, that is really becoming more important than before in complete manufacturing of a part.
I mean, ESPRIT software has certainly evolved significantly over the years, and I had the pleasure to meet Dan, the founder of ESPRIT, back in 2019 at EMO. This was the very first time that I learned about artificial intelligence and how it was incorporated into the CAM software that you're currently selling. This was actually the launch of the new ESPRIT CAM software, I believe. Now, firstly, Luca, this is a very new technology. Some people may not be fully familiar with it. So can you please firstly just give us in your own words, what is artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence is very wide. It's wide content, and what I can tell you is that artificial intelligence it's a new engine that will be plugged in many software in any type of business, in my opinion, in the next future. And for the manufacturing, or in general, artificial intelligence is some kind of a replica of the human intelligence. So you are trying to have some kind of help from the software to analyze data and to take decision in the best and the correct way. Something that just a human being could be able to do it. Right now, this kind of replica is starting to work pretty well, and is learning by himself, and is able to take a very important decision, sometimes really giving the decision maker a complete overview that sometimes is very hard to have from a single human being.
We will be discussing the products and solutions that your CAM solutions offer, but how does artificial intelligence, AI, benefit the end user, and how do you incorporate it within your products?
Manufacturing process is becoming more complex than ever. There are multiple variables, and it's very hard for a single user to have all the skill to manage the process in a correct way. Just to give you some example, so you need to select the core machine tool. Then the correct machine tool should have also a lot of options, different kind of controller, and then you need to select the tool, and you need to select the fixture, and then you need to select the coolant, and you need to select the right tool path. So all these things are variable to create the right process. And having all this information is very hard. You need the specific skills because every single topic that they mention has become very important. And it's so important that you need to have a specific knowledge about it. The fact that we are using an artificial intelligence kernel allows us to collect all this information and provide it to the end user in a very quick and easy way. And the other thing is that he can learn by himself. So every time that you create something, you learn how to do it, and you know the, let me say, DNA of production of your company. So it's very important also because you can swap machine tool and keeping the same knowledge. You can change also the user in front of the machine because at the end the knowledge is really related to the company that own this technology and own this knowledge.
So effectively, Luca, I mean, we've got a video playing at the minute of machine swap, but effectively, Luca, is this a more efficient way, a new way of programming CNC machines? And is it more of a flexible and modular solution? How does machine swap work?
You know, one of the problems of our customer is that they need to create a prototype, and then from prototype for a small production. And then I'm going to the job shop, and the machine tool that I was that I had in mind is busy. So I need completely to change it. And one of the problems of reprogramming machine tool is that you have a different architecture in terms of kinematic. Maybe you have different controller. Maybe you need to manage things in a different way. So what is completely changing in this in ESPRIT, in the new generation of ESPRIT, is that we are using the artificial intelligence kernel to program the machine tool. So if you think the old software that are currently in the market too, they program toolpath, and then through the simulation they verify the collision detection, they verify the rapid movement, and so on. All this information should be checked after. So we don't program toolpath anymore. We program machine tool because when we are creating toolpath, it's generating already the toolpath that it's perfect for the kinematics of the machine, for the behavior of the machine. This is the big step. So we program machine tool because when we are creating toolpath, we know already what the machine tool is capable of.
So Luca,
Luca. It's very useful for the user just because you can move from one machine tool to another, from one single part to multiple parts in a click of a button.
So effectively, Luca, correct me if I'm wrong, but effectively you're programming the part independently from the machine tool, and then you can change the machine tool and put that part on a different machine tool, and then it will change the setup and the programs automatically.
Correct.
Is that correct?
We can see it in this video, and I can explain you. So in this case, you know, we create some toolpath for producing this part, and we put on DMG more ACTX beta. Now we're changing the kinematics, a completely different machine, and also we are changing the way of producing because we need to move from one part to multiple parts, changing the fixture. So in this case, what we are doing is, okay, we change completely the setup. We change completely the machine tool and the kinematic machine tool. In this case, the AI engine can optimize in an automatic way with just a click of a button, as I mentioned, from a sequence of toolpath and tool. Is trying to reorganize the toolpath to cut the time of production. So is reorganizing in a correct way. And just as I told you, in a click of a button, you can move your one part to multiple parts, to one kinematics to another kinematics. And all these things because when you are generating the toolpath is the artificial intelligence engine that take care about the complete setup, the kinematic of the machine, and adapt the toolpath to the new machine.
Now,
something that was impossible a few years ago.
I mean, this is fascinating, and I think it could be revolutionary. Now,
Absolutely.
Talking about optimization, Luca, is the artificial intelligence also optimizing the process in regards to the sequence?
Yeah, correct. That's the big deal. Because as I told you, you start from a prototype, one single part, and you're moving from multiple parts. We can see on the screen another example. We are on a 5-axis machine. We are doing also some probing cycle. And I need to move to another machine because I need to produce 10,000 parts per year. So I need to think a different kinematic. I need to think in a different feature. I need to think about a lot of new things. So what we can do is starting from the concept of phase one and phase two, a certain number of tool paths, we need to move the complete part to a new architecture, a new kinematic, a new machine. So in this case, we can move on a vertical center with a rotary table. And you can see that you have phase one and phase two on the same fixture, in the same rotary table. So it helps a lot because you can change machine, you can keep the different part, you can change the sequencing, you can change also the fact that you can produce this one single setup like we are doing right now. Different things is that, okay, I don't want to produce just one single part per time. I want to produce 12 parts per time. So I need to think about an horizontal machine for high production milling. I need to think about the tombstone, and I need to do a completely different setup. So I have 3 parts for each side, but you know, the toolpath to produce the part, it's always the same. In an automatic way, ESPRIT is just optimizing the programming and just check what is the shorter way to produce all the parts. What is the best way to use as much as possible the tool that is loaded in that moment. And you can select with all this variable the correct alignment of the process. Changing completely the process planning.
Luca, I have many questions for you. I don't know where to start, really. I think that, you know, you mentioned changing machine tools, but what about post-processor? You know, and what kind of collaboration do you need to kind of to figure out all of the capabilities and of each machine tool?
First of all, there is something new. So we don't use post-processor anymore. So we call it DMP, that is the digital machine package. You are not allowed to produce the right G code just with the post-processor. You need to have the complete virtual environment. And you need to have the information about the machine tool, the macro, the way the machine tool builder designed the machine tool to work. So the human machine package, it's let me say, a package of a post-processor, a controller emulator, and the replica and the digital twin of the machine tool. With all this information, you are able to create the right tool path. It's very important for us in the collaboration with machine tool builder that it's part of our DNA. So maybe we are not investing all this money in marketing, but we're investing a lot of money to create this kind of connection machine tool. We have a couple of strategies. One of them that we're using with some of our partners like Kuma and Meizek. We have application engineers. They are resident in their job shop. So we are helping them to cut apart, and we're helping them to create a toolpath and to turnkey project. On the other side, they are sharing the knowledge and how to use their machine. So we really believe in win-win partnership, and we really believe that we can play along. It's a collaboration. So the variable to produce a part, as I told you, are tools, fixture, coolant, machine tool, toolpath, and so on. It's why it's very important to set up a good partnership with all the actors of this process.
Luca, we'll talk about collaborations with the tooling suppliers, machine tool suppliers, and all the other elements that make the complete process. But firstly, I'm trying to understand in a little bit more detail. So effectively, Luca, everything can be done digitally. Yeah, tell me more about the digital twin. How does this work?
Digital twin is really the virtual environment. So we really believe, and we are working to make it happen, that in the next future, you know, most of the processes that we see everywhere, from the design and to prototype to the manufacturing to, you know, production plan and so on, can be virtualized almost 100%. Even in the production, like in ESPRIT, we can simulate almost everything. And it means that in the next future, on the machine tool, you will have, our goal is to have just one single button, okay, start and stop, because you can virtualize it. You can take all the decision based on the virtual environment, but you need to have the good virtual environment that allow you to take this decision. So it should be safe, it should be reliable, should be exactly what you expected. It's why what is important in this piece is that you see, what you see is what you get. So what you see on the virtual environment, on the simulation, is exactly what happened on the machine tool. And this is the big difference compared to the software that we have on the market, because typically the post-processor analyzes the G code and add something on top of it. When you add something on top of it, it's disconnected from the simulation. In this case, we have a digital machine package. So all the decisions are based on the artificial intelligence kernel that take the decision, allow you to see the simulation, and then it's done. So what you see is the G code that is matching exactly what you have in the simulation.
So effectively then, Luca, is this where the collaboration really comes into its own, being able to acquire the digital models or the digital twins of the machine tools, the cutting tools, working with cutting tool suppliers to look at different strategies on different materials? Is this the key? The gathering of all this information, bit of Industry 4.0 as well?
Yeah, Industry 4.0 is really pushing this kind of topic because you need to virtualize completely your environment. And to have it, you need to have all the suppliers that give you information, digital information. So there is also new business, machine tool, sell the machine tool, the virtual machine tool, of the design scheme of the machine to the client. And then you have the same information for the tooling company. You have the same information for the company are producing fixture. That's a part of our business too, because as you know, the EDP Technology is a group, and one company of the group is Machine Cloud, that is a digital provider. So it's a collector of digital information that can provide it to the final user. And inside you can find machine tool, for example, DMG Mori has already upload all their machine tool inside the Machine Cloud. You have a multiple brand of fixture, multiple brand of tools. So in one single place, you can select, you can download the digital component that you need to recreate the virtual setup in your CAM system.
So we're talking about a lot of these emerging technologies. Some of them have been around for a long time. AI certainly hasn't. AI is certainly new, but it's encompassing a lot of the other technologies as well. And one of them being automation. You have also automation powered by AI. What does this mean from a CAM perspective?
You know, a CAM system receive information, and you can see from the video that we have the history tree of a CAD system on the left with information about how to create a slot, which kind of a hole you have, if it's a thread or not, and so on. When we receive this information, you can have access to a database that is powered by artificial intelligence that allow you to, let me say, look back in what you did before. And what you did before, when I had this kind of material, when I have this type of pocket, I used this tool with these parameters and with all this information about the tool part. So basically, we are storing the best practice of the user, and they can have access immediately in a quick and easy way through the artificial intelligence kernel.
Yeah. Now,
So
Luca,
its automation is really important, and it will be part of the future. You can see even associativity in this case.
So I think it all goes hand in hand, Luca. Now, what drove you to evolve your CAM systems so drastically? You know, was it the complexity of the machine tools, the complexity of the parts that are being machined now? Was this the driver for you guys to invent this new technology?
Part of our DNA as the ESPRIT technology is to solve complex situations. We was looking always to find trouble, let me say. That's in a positive way. It means that the manufacturing process had a crazy evolution in the last 20 years. And think about that. We have a multitasking machine, multi-channel, Swiss style, B-axis almost everywhere. If you think about, what is late right now, we analyze and we did the statistics based on our partner, DMG Mori. And, the last 30 machines are milling more than turning most of the time. So a lot of evolution in terms of kinematics. So the kinematics and the complexity of the machine is much bigger than a few years ago. you're allowed to do things very complex to program, like a superimpose for Swiss style or for certain tuning machine. So all these things, oblige us to rethink the concept. Think about that in the last few years also the IT technology completely changed. They are changing platform. There is an evolution in writing code. There is an evolution in the component that you can use to produce software. And we was looking at least almost 10 years ago. And think about that, guys, with the architecture that we have right now, it's becoming older. There is no way. So we need to keep the evolution of the old software, where we need to start from the scratch with a completely new technology, with a complete new basement. And on top of this basement, we create a new software that is allowed you to do what I showed you today. It was really risky because it's hours, thousands of hours of coding again. But at the end, with the new technology, you can check that the speed of the evolution of the new software is much faster than the other. So if you continue to keep and to use the old software, the old architecture, it takes time to solve it. With the new technology, the curve of learning, the curve of improvement is exponential compared to the other one that is progressive.
For subcontractors that may be watching this live question time, or they can watch it later, it'll be on the MTD CNC website and on YouTube. They can watch it at any time after we've done this live interview. But would it lend them? Would your CAM software lend itself to short runs or production runs, or both?
Oh, we are doing everything. So ESPRIT fundamental is a platform for manufacturing. It's a platform because, as I told you, we're doing almost everything from tuning to milling to 5-axis to heavy machine and so on. So in this case, for example, we can see how we can optimize the cycle before we see it on a horizontal machine for high production milling. In this case, you have a machine tool with the two components. Maybe you have a bar feeder, and you need to optimize the production. So when you want to optimize the production in this case, it's very important that you sync the tools in the correct way and use correctly the tool mounted inside the turret. So we have tools to analyze, the time study, and we have tools that allow you through artificial intelligence kernel to speed up this process. So in a click of a button, even here, you analyze where you put the tools in the turret, what are the processes that you are looking for, and in an automatic way, you can see on the left what's going on. So channel 1 on the left, channel 2 on the right, but it's doing these things absolutely in an automatic way using the synchronization of the two turrets. So it means that these things that were very complex and it takes time to analyze and was handmade before, right now you have 95% of the solution already done in a click of a button.
Now,
so yes, ESPRIT is born for two things, for short run and for long run. And it's very important because sometimes the short run become an evolution to production, high production. So you can reduce exactly what you did before in a quick and easy way.
And these are big changes. There's one technology that we've not mentioned yet, Luca, and that is additive manufacturing. Do you also have a solution available for this emerging technology?
Yeah, additive manufacturing is approaching the manufacturing market in a very aggressive way. There are a lot of changes to the additive because they are changing the way of designing a part. They are changing the way of produce a part. As I told you, we are always looking for trouble. So we have a division in Grenoble that is working just for additive manufacturing in two areas, direct energy deposition and powder bed. Both those technologies are embedded inside the ESPRIT platform. And we're already very interested in test cut or test cut in this mode. With additive, it's not really a test cut, but it's an additive cut. And what happened right now is that technology is doing big step, moving forward pretty fast. On the other side, we have machine tools that are still very expensive and components that are really not fitting 100% the way of new way of producing. So I think this technology will arrive very soon, but we are still in an early phase. But we are ready. We are working it, and we already have a technology. We already did a few tasks that are really promising. And
Luca,
I think that the future, it will be more hybrid. So it will be not additive, it will be not subtractive, it will be a mix of the two technology. This will be the boost.
I agree with you completely. I think hybrid is definitely a future I can definitely see. We've had a question come in, Luca, from Christopher King. He says, with this new technology, there's obviously a lot of change. Is it a case of changing mindsets for people to adapt this new technology? I can definitely see the benefits, but how do you convince the end users?
It's like, in the early 20th century, there was horses, and then it popped up the car. It's a new technology. You like it or not, it will help. Sure, it will help. It's just a matter of time. But when you have something that help you, that allow you to move faster, and is more effective, more efficiency, yes, definitely. That's the. I think it will arrive soon, and will be disruptive in every kind of technology. So in this case, we are talking about manufacturing, but I think it will be a very important component for everything. Think about, I don't know, Google Assistant or Alexa. They are based on artificial intelligence. You just ask them. So instead of search for a song, you just ask, and that's it.
And so, this is,
yes.
Sorry, Luca. This is still very new technology, or relatively new technology. In your opinion, how will it change the engineering landscape in the future? Is this something that will be a necessity for engineers if they want to remain competitive?
I think if they want to remain competitive, I'm talking more about Europe, because you know that there was always a big fight between Europe and high production that is moving to China. So we lost, of course, a part of our business, and because they was able to, the DNA of China, for example, was more able to solve high production component needs. On our side, we are working more on complexity, and I think it's very important to improve our technology, because it's things that will help us to survive. It means that we need to be more efficient, to be more effective. You need to be cheaper, and we need to be faster. All these things are viable that will have an impact on the survival of our company. So I think it's really important to analyze these things deeply and try to integrate it in our processes.
I mean, you mentioned integration. You mentioned integration, Luca. Is your product effectively just synchronizing all different elements of the process to achieve the optimal kind of process effectively? Is that in a nutshell what you are being able to achieve now?
Yeah, manufacturing, on this case CAM system, it's a part of the process, or what we call PLM, so product lifecycle management. And it means that you design the part, then you have maybe a PDM for managing the data, and then you have a CAM system with the data, and then you have multiple other software for G-code simulation, for tool data management, and so on. So one of the goals that we have in our company is really to keep an open architecture. So it means that you can develop things inside ESPRIT on one side, and you connect ESPRIT everywhere you want. So it means that we can connect it to the PDM, we can import CAD data, we can deliver information and get information from tool data management. All these things are part of the flow, and we need to be part of the process. And if you want to stay in this flow, yes, you need to be connected everywhere. And it's why also the architecture that we have, it's really open. So you have API that allow you to connect your software to ESPRIT, or ESPRIT to another software to synchronize the information.
And Luca, finally, is education the key then, moving forward?
Yeah, and I think COVID helped us. Just to give you a feedback about the last 2 months, we are using software to do very complex, to solve very complex situation. Machine tools are very complex, and the entire manufacturing process is complex. Think about that you have to select the machine tools, as we mentioned before, the tool, the coolant, the tool path, and so on. All these variable, you should have very high skills on every single of these variable. So the fact that we are at home or doing a webinar or live session like we're doing right now, I think training, it will become more important than before, and it will change completely. So we are teaching, especially the kids, okay, they are learning through the tutorial. They are going on YouTube and just learn everything from YouTube. And there is a process I can see in the company and the clients that right now they're looking for training by web. It's just a couple of hours. I need to solve a specific situation. I need to learn a specific topic. I don't want 5 days in a row. And it's really, really important to keep updated the knowledge about the software, the knowledge about everything that is have an impact on the process. Because there is a very fast evolution. What you have right now, it will be not the same in 6 months. So you need to be updated and you need to find a way. And these type of platforms are perfect.
Well, Luca, it's been a fascinating question time. It's been brilliant to get a brief overview, you know, of this new technology that is now available from DP Technology. I really appreciate your time today, Luca.
Thank you very much, Joe.
And I hope that the audience that's been watching this has learned something about artificial intelligence. You can watch this show live or you can watch it on MTD CNC at any time. It'll be posted on there or on YouTube. And ESPRIT are now part of the MTD CNC network, and all of their content will be hosted on our platform, so you can learn a lot more. Luca, thank you very much and stay safe. And
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You too. Have a great day.